Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Got another video for you today. I'm going to show you how to change out spool bearings on a Shimano Curado 300E. Save you a little bit of money. Hey folks, just wanted to shout out to some folks before I start this video, start changing these spool bearings out. First shout outs to all my subscribers. Man, the channel growth has been phenomenal since we started in August, and we appreciate all you guys tuning in and watching every week and every time we upload a video. The channel wouldn't be here without all the viewers and all the subscribers who make this worthwhile. I want to give a shout out to Cody Rogers. He's got a YouTube channel called Slick Water Yakking. It's out of the hill country of Texas. Cody's a great guy, puts out good content, great videos, catches big largemouth out of Texas on very narrow rivers. You guys check out his channel. He's just short of 1,000 subscribers. He's coming up on 1,000 and trying to help him and push him over that 1,000 mark. So you guys check his channel out. I'll drop links to his channel in the comments. You'll also see a link pop up here in just a second that will go to his page. So you guys check him out and give him a sub and like and watch his stuff. Okay guys, I'm gonna get into this bearing change I'm doing here. I bought this reel a month or so ago, got it out of Kentucky. I'm assuming it's got stock spool bearings in it. I got the reel and it looks pretty clean, so I'm not gonna break it down entirely. I just want to increase the speed of the reel a little bit and change out the spool bearings just because they've probably never been changed. This is a real simple operation, real simple task. You can send these reels off to have this done. You can send them back to Shimano, or you can send them out to a reel repair service and they will change out the bearings for you, put high-speed bearings, do anything that you want them to do. Probably going to cost you between $30 and $50 after you ship it to them and they ship it back and the parts they use. This process of changing the spool bearings is a simple process that anybody can do, and the spool bearings that I bought, which are Spool Speed spool bearings from a place out of White Rock, South Carolina. These bearings are $18 for 2 bearings. And that's all you need is 2 bearings. You've got one that goes under the spool control cap, and you've got one that's in this side plate on the Shimano. Real simple to swap out, easy to swap out. A beginner can do it. The only thing you need to watch out for when you start replacing these spool bearings is on a Shimano 300E. These spool bearings are held in by a small C-shaped retainer clip, and if you're not careful, that retainer clip is under tension, so when you remove that retainer clip, you need to make sure that you hold on to it. You don't want that flying across the room. I bought the high-speed bearings. This is a ceramic hybrid bearing. Saw these at East Tennessee Fishing Show. The guy puts on a demonstration with them, and they're really fast bearings. Also bought from him ceramic bearing lube, which some people don't lube their bearings. If you do lube them, you need just to use a quarter drop is what this calls for on each bearing. Less is more. The only other thing I need for this is I've got some alcohol wipes just to remove any excess oil off the spool or the inside of the side plates. I've got a small flat-sided screwdriver which come out of an eyeglass repair case, a pair of tweezers, and I've got another longer pair of tweezers and a little hook like a dental tool, which I probably won't need. Just in case I need those to remove any oil out of the spool, pinion gear, any excess oil or hard to reach places, I got some Q-tips. So I'm going to get right into this. This is pretty easy. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this these bearings, and I'm going to put them out to the side here. I will drop a link to these Spool Speed bearings in the description of the video too. So here's what the bearings look like. They're pretty simple bearings. That's a ceramic hybrid bearing. I'm going to lay those right there. I'm going to get my oil out next just to set it to the side. Here's the ceramic lube. Some people use it, some people don't. It calls for a quarter drop on each bearing, so use it sparingly. I'll set it right here. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open this side plate on this Shimano. It's pretty simple. There's a little flip up button here, and it shows you which way to turn that button to get this side plate to open and separate from the reel. So I'm going to turn it here, and I'm going to open it, and as you can see, here's the bearing that I want to replace. And if you'll look real close, you'll see that little C-shaped clip that you need to watch out for. The edge of it's right here. That's under tension, holding that bearing in. So once I get this side plate open, I'm going to go ahead and slip this spool out. I'm going to slide this spool right out of the side of this reel. It's real simple. You just push on the spool a little bit, grab it with your hand, slide it right out to the side. So while I've got this open, there's what the inside of the reel looks like, where the spool goes. While I've got this open, I'm going to clean all this. I'm going to take an alcohol pad, and I'm just going to, right around the outside of this spool, the inside of this spool, I'm just going to rub it down with alcohol. I'm going to remove any old oil or grease that's on this spool. Once I get that done, I'm going to take a dry cloth and just dry that alcohol. That alcohol will evaporate, but I'm just going to dry it off real good. Get all that old oil off there. I'm going to set my spool to the side over here. And once I do that, I'm going to take my alcohol pad, and on the inside where this spool rides, I'm just going to rub around that with the wet alcohol pad. to remove any grease, any old oil, any old grease, any of that, because I don't want any friction. That's the reason I'm changing these bearings out. Put new bearings in and clean this spool up a little bit. I don't want any friction. I want the reel to be as fast as it can be. Down here where the spool sits, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to rub that with a wet alcohol pad just to clean it up a little bit where that spool rides. I'm going to take a Q-tip and I'm going to stick it right down in this hole where this cog is. It's where the pinion gears sit, just to clean out some of that oil. So once that's done, I'm going to take a dry cloth and make sure that I wipe all that alcohol off. And that looks pretty good. So once I get that done, I'm going to flip the reel over and I want to change this bearing underneath this spool control knob first. You can change either side you want to first, but I'm going to change this one first. So you need to make sure that your drag star, you get it lined up with your spool tensioner knob so you can unscrew this knob to get it loose. This turns counterclockwise to get it off. So once you get it turned counterclockwise and get it unscrewed, you just pick it straight up. There are no springs or anything underneath this spool tensioner knob, so you don't have to worry about anything flying off. We'll set it to the side. So here you can see, you have the bearing sitting down in there, and you have this little C-clip sitting down in here. So what I like to do on these things is need to make sure that you put your finger over the top of this hole where this bearing sits when you loosen this spring. That way, if you loosen the spring and it flies out, you can block it with this finger. So I'm going to put my screwdriver down in there. I'm going to pry up just a little bit, and there it's coming loose, and I've got it right there underneath my finger. So I'm going to grab it with this pair of tweezers. I'm going to set it here to the side. Switch right there. So the next thing you ought to be able to do is you ought to be able to just put your tweezers down in there, if you got small tweezers, and push them together, and that should come right straight out. There the bearing's out. That's probably a stock bearing. So I'm going to lay it to the side. I'm going to keep these stock bearings. So there you can see down into where the bearing sits. I'm going to take a clean Q-tip and I'm just going to run it down in here to remove any oil or old grease residue out of there, because I don't want any old in there. So once you have that clean, just take your new high-speed bearing, drop it right down in that hole. Just push it down with your tweezers to the bottom of the hole. Take your C-clip, lay it right over the edge of the hole, like so. Being very careful to control it and push it back in there. You can just push it back in there with your finger like I've done, and then take a little screwdriver or your tweezers or whatever you want to take and just push it down in there, and that bearing is in. So once I get the bearing in, I'm going to take just a small drop of this oil and I'm going to drop it in as just a small drop. Once that's done, replace the spool tensioner knob. So just stick it back on there and turn it clockwise. So this side is done. Pretty simple. Before I put that spool back in, I want to go ahead and do the other side, because if I stick that spool in first, it's just going to try to fall out on me. So I'm going to set my reel down here on its side. I'm going to use the same process I used on the other one. I'm going to put my finger halfway over the hole, take a screwdriver, pry back on the C-spring just a little bit, pick up on it, I think that's got it out. And I'm going to take a pair of tweezers and grab it. And there I've got it in the tweezers, and I'm going to set it to the side. Once I do that, you can take a pair of tweezers to get the bearing out. Take a little flat screwdriver, stick down in there and raise the bearing up. Take this little hook. I flipped that bearing out the hook. There's the bearing. I'll take another Q-tip. Just get all that excess oil out of there if there's any in there. Run it around a few times, and there's a little bit in there. That looks pretty clean. So here's my other high-speed bearing. I just put it over the hole and drop it in. Should fit right in. So once it's in, I'll take my little C-clip, put it right back down over top of the hole, hold my finger over it, push one side in. Once I have one side in, I'm going to push the other side in, and took my tweezers and just pushed it down, made sure that that retainer spring was seated in that little groove above the bearing. So that bearing's in. Once that bearing's in, I'm just going to put a drop on those bearings. It's got both my bearings in. Now I just need to put the spool back in. So flip my reel back over. Here's my spool. We'll slip the spool back in. Make sure the little cog on the spool matches up with the little cog on your pinion underneath the spool tensioner knob. Once that's done, you want to close the side up and then just turn your side plate knob to close to lock it in place. And that's how you change spool bearings, to upgrade your spool bearings. Now, another little tip I'll give you. When you screw this tensioner knob on, you want to just screw the knob on and don't run this knob all the way down, because if you do, you're increasing tension on your spool, which is going to push your spool to the side if there's no side plate on. Okay guys, that'll do it for this video. Once again, appreciate you guys watching. Hey, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button for me. Hit that little bell down in the corner so you'll be notified every time we upload. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the water.